Roe v. Wade is gone.
How are you feeling today? I am walking on cloud nine. This is the best news we had ever received.
We are dancing on the grave of Roe versus Wade, and it's a great first step. It's like taking Normandy Beach, but our mission is to get to Berlin. Our mission is to make it a crime in all 50 states in America to kill a human being from conception until birth, and we won't rest until we have achieved that goal.
I know what you're thinking. This is a couple weeks old news, but you know what? I think it's important to celebrate it even now and to look at the implication that this is going to have for the rest of the country going forward and our children.
You just don't know when to give up, do you?
I can do this all day.
Abortion is sent back to the states for the states to decide what they want to do with abortion. The Supreme Court has said that the Constitution has no place for abortion. Check out my man Clarence Thomas.
It's about things that are far more important than you, and whether people are mad at you has nothing to do with whether you're right. You know, you can be in the middle of a hurricane, or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm. North is still north. People can yell at you. North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself. And I think you've got to be comfortable with that.
And we just celebrated July 4th a couple weeks ago, and what's great is babies for the first time in almost 50 years will be able to celebrate that. They're deserving now of the same rights. We're finally recognizing that the same rights we have are the same rights that babies have. What a beautiful time to celebrate this momentous occasion by going to I Want a Belt and buying yourself some of the best Italian-made leather belts made here in the USA. Tell you, they're a lot better than those belts from Target, the little cheap ones that wear out after a couple uses. You need to get an American-made belt, and specifically from I Want a Belt. Check them out, American-made, patriotic business. You're gonna love it. Why is the overturning of Roe v. Wade so big? Let's go back in time. Let's go back to the future.
You've got to come back with me.
Where?
Back to the future.
Back to 1815, where slavery was legal and allowed, and the Supreme Court in the Dred Scott decision said that this group of people is not a human being.
The black race has, for more than a century, been regarded as beings of an inferior order, and they have no rights which the white man is bound to respect.
Dred Scott's image was that individual who was denied his freedom.
That same thing happened with Roe v. Wade. It said that this specific group of people, because of where they were, who they came from, their class, their size, their color, their race, whatever it was, they're not a human being. Now imagine the joy of the passing of the 13th Amendment. That is the same correlation that we have with Roe v. Wade being overturned. It is something to be celebrated. It is something that God celebrates. And I would venture to say, if you're not celebrating it, or if you have somebody who was speaking up about BLM, but was not speaking up about this and saying, hey, this is great, you should listen to what Star Parker says.
The worst thing that could have happened to Black life is Margaret Sanger. She studied under people like Nazis to say, how do we figure out a perfect race? She wanted to make sure that certain populations of people were controlled.
She wrote in a letter that she didn't want word to get out that she wanted to exterminate the Negro population. She considered people of color and the disabled to be like human weeds that should be pulled out of the ground, the ones that were unclean, the ones that were unfit.
She went after African American leaders and pastors to pay them to market to their people, to kill their offspring, so that there would not be that many blacks in this country.
Unfortunately, those roots of eugenics, it really has borne fruit. African American women, we are 3 times more likely to abort than other races. And we have abortion as the #1 cause of death in our community. And it's truly devastating.
Abortion is the #1 killer of black babies. So unless you want to be a racist and you want to support eugenics and what Margaret Sanger's vision was, guess what? You should probably be pro-life and get back fathers in the home rather than allowing women just to have an abortion whenever they want and allowing fathers to not be their fathers. So check out what this pastor says.
Sanger said this: we don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood. Now, this was written in 1939. So how you going to be woke? How you going to be a woke church and don't know this? This is old. This is old. You bishops and pastors and leaders out there, if you haven't told your congregation about the #1 killer of African Americans, an organization that kills more African Americans every 2 weeks than the Klan did in its entire history, you are not qualified to use the word woke. For you are the epitome of being asleep. You're asleep at the wheel.
I love that. I love it because here you got people involved in the church who are speaking out against the wrongdoings of the state. God has something to say about life and death, and you better believe abortion is about life and death. Abortion is the sacrament of the devil. And I'm so happy that there's revival happening and that my kids will experience a post-Roe v. Wade America. Yeah, there's a lot of work to do here in California. Trust me, I know. A lot of work to do in New York and other states. But you know what? It starts with your neighbor. It starts with that conversation, and it starts with you just speaking up. And it starts with you just asking questions. Because a lot of times, the opposition can't really answer the questions. When does life begin?
When does life begin, in your opinion?
Senator, I don't know.
Ma'am?
I don't know.
Do you have a belief?
I have personal, religious, and otherwise beliefs that have nothing to do with the law in terms of when life begins.
Do you have a personal belief, though, about when life begins?
I have a religious view.
Religious belief?
That I set aside when I am ruling on cases.
A baby doesn't become a baby like right before it and leaves the womb. Like as Seth Gruber says, the magical fetus fairy sprinkles its dust. Once the baby comes out of the womb, then it's a full baby, it's a full human being. But not any time before. No, folks. Moment of conception, abortion is wrong in all circumstances, and abortion is also different than an ectopic pregnancy or a miscarriage. Totally different. If you want to know more about this, check out Live Action. Check out my page on Instagram. But check out Live Action, Lila Rose. They have a lot of good stuff to say about this because they're a pro-life organization. So, abortion gone. Roe v. Wade, something to be praised. Is it a step in the right direction? You better believe it. Thank God that the Constitution is upholding its promises to every human being because it is self-evident that we are all created in the image of God. And that's a beautiful thing. Tune in the next week, Church and State. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube, and make sure you go on I Want a Belt and order some good belts for you.